City, it's all anybody was talking about. But it wasn't true.
Yeah. Here's what I think American people need to understand. By design or effect, these were acts of war. Because put it all together for a moment. We have a Chinese government who knows that the virus was virulent, that it was deadly, it was communicable. They locked down Wuhan but allowed some of those international flights. And then finally, in the United States, they used their propaganda arms to incite fear, panic, and ultimately riots, unrest. I mean, so we have to remember by design or effect what they were after. And so I think that what you're going to see in the next number of weeks is, and in fact, Fox News has reported exclusively, the intelligence community is out on the streets right now. The CIA, NSA, Department of Defense, State Department, they're collecting the intelligence necessary to show with a high degree of confidence that the Chinese government has done this horrific thing that you're saying now and reporting now, that there were these riots and inciting panic that the Chinese were trying to do, all the way back to where did the virus actually come from, right? So once all that information comes out, we're going to be looking for a high degree of confidence from our sources and from our intelligence community to be able to show the world, to build those alliances that in fact China is culpable for this. So over the next couple of weeks, that's what you're going to see. Hopefully, a report put out, unclassified for the American people, and then a classified version for our allies as we form that global response. And then President Trump has an opportunity to share with the country what we know. We have to rally around those facts and ultimately rally around him. And that's what it's going to take to show China, to demonstrate to the Chinese that we are serious about what they did.
So, Brian Dean, you're talking about the public statement that would come out not classified. What does the President of the United States say to the President of China, President Xi? Say, look, I know what you did. We know that the virus started there. We know that you were trying to sow this disinformation, to sow panic on the streets of America. Then what does the President say? Because obviously the President would know what was going on there, and that's not helpful to Mr. Xi.
So what I think you ought to do is give President Xi a chance to do the right thing, to acknowledge the degree of culpability, and then offer up a solution to the United States and indeed all countries who've been affected, and say, here's how we're going to make this right. And if they don't, which, by the way, I doubt that they will, having worked with these folks in the past, we now have to then rally the troops. And not, of course, just the American people here. I'm talking about a global alliance to tell President Xi that, in fact, he is culpable. And we have a number of different tools. Removing them from the World Trade Organization, tariffs, sanctions. We have a way to hit them back where they don't want to be hit the most, which is, of course, their economy. Now, China's going to push back. We've already seen them in the past couple of months. I hate to say it, but using some of the useful idiots in the Democratic Party, pushing their talking points to say that, hey, it's all Trump's fault, right, and not China's. So we're going to have to be able to respond as a country to say enough, grab our alliances, all these allies, and demand that they make it right. So that's what you're going to see, and I think that there was a profound impact then on the November elections and who we choose for our president, right? We have to say no to Joe, because Joe Biden has been in the tank for the Chinese for so long. 2013, he and his son flew over to Beijing, sucked up that $1.5 billion. Plus, you have to remember, Biden was vice president under, of course, Mr. Obama, when we all know what the Chinese did in terms of taking our intellectual property, stealing those jobs, facilitating the nuclear program of North Korea, the ballistic missile program of Iran. I mean, the horrific record goes on and on. So we have to say no to Joe so that we can continue to push forward with this country, hold the Chinese to account. That's why this election in November is so incredibly important.
Brandine, before you go, I've just got to ask you about that no to Joe business. You're a Democrat. You've voted for Democrats your whole life. You're going to vote for Trump now?
Look, this election's too important to be focused on party. You know, and if you go back to President George Washington, he told us that parties are actually the bane of a nation, that we have a responsibility instead to the Constitution and to the nation. And so that's my ultimate loyalty. I'm focused on ensuring that America continues to be exceptional. That's how we all should be focused with this election. And that, for me, is why I'm going to be supporting President Trump.
All right. He, once upon a time, was a CIA operative. Now he Joining us from Tucson, Arizona, very early on this Thursday morning, Brian Dean Wright. Thank you.